Hey everyone, I'm Vino Duraisamy. I am a developer advocate at Snowflake. And today we're going to talk about how we could leverage AI for data engineering workloads. And for that, we're going to explore Cortex AI SQL and how that can help us accelerate our data pipelines and workflows. Let's get started. All right. Why AI powered SQL functions? Well, you're all data practitioners and you know how data pipelines are the foundation for AI pipelines, right? Because as data practitioners, our teams are critical in the AI journey. So it makes sense to leverage the power of AI to really accelerate and make our data pipelines more efficient. And another interesting thing is that data analytics, it's sort of like a wide spectrum, right? Sometimes it's a simple question that's easy, like you just look up a table, write a simple query, and you have your answer. And sometimes, look at question number 3 here. It's a much more involved question that probably needs, I don't know, looking at structured and unstructured data and an involved complex multi-step pipeline to answer questions like this. So because our data analytics and data engineering is the wide spectrum and needs, answering questions of different kinds, is why we could leverage the power of AI and AI SQL to make these more efficient and easy to answer. All right. We talked about why it is important for us to bring the capabilities of AI and use AI SQL, right? It can firstly support multimodal data, both structured and unstructured data of different formats. And it brings in the different AI capabilities to our data workflows. On top of that, it also works with frontier models of different types, Anthropic, OpenAI, Mistral, Llama, and whatnot, making it more powerful and efficient data pipelines, right? And these 6 AI SQL functions are only a subset of them. Check out the Snowflake documentation to find a comprehensive list of AI SQL functions and what they bring. Now, we talked about why it is important to use the AI SQL functions or bringing in the power of AI generally to our data pipelines. But looking at a bigger picture of the data platform that we're working with, well, we do have the data on the left side, structured and unstructured, that we work with. Great. And then, of course, governed and the governance, boundaries in place. And in the processing side, for structured data, we have, simple transformation pipelines. And then for unstructured data, we deal with it differently and use document and image processing pipelines. But making it AI ready, we work with simple table semantics or even embeddings and parsed structured data that accompany the unstructured data, you know. But where does AI SQL fit in? Well, it fits in the retrieval phase of it, as you can see, where you're looking to answer questions through AI from our existing structured and unstructured data, both of them together. Like you can see, once we do have this AI ready data, we pass it on downstream to our AI teams and apps teams to work off of that or to, answer business questions from that. Well, we talked about AI SQL, why is it important, and why we need to bring the capabilities of AI to our data workflows. Here is a quick snapshot of what AI SQL is, what the different AI SQL functions are, and what are the different capabilities it brings, right? If you see the basic, SQL primitives on the left, AI Complete can help you with extraction. It's a very simple, answering any questions that you want to. Just write a prompt and AI Complete will, extract the answer for you. And if you look at the AI aggregation or like aggregation function, it does a summarization for you. What does it mean? You feed an entire column of input and AI Ag will be able to aggregate it across an entire column through the multiple rows and give you a summary of it. And very similarly, join function, for example, can join on AI filter can actually filter on a specific value. And again, this filter can be on images or even on text, right? What do you mean filter on images? We will talk about it later, very soon. And the AI classify function, for example, could classify a text or an images based on a specific set of predefined categories that you can define. All of this is to say, AI SQL functions bring in different AI capabilities from multimodal understanding, reasoning, extraction, summarization, and generation, but in the form of basic SQL primitives, which is easy for us to use out of the box without any setup, configuration, or a steep learning curve. That said, of course, all of this work on both both structured and unstructured data comprehensively, making it easy for us to work with multimodal data that is there today. Well, we talked about these questions earlier, right? So with AI SQL, how are we going to answer this specific question? Well, it looks like what is the outlook from Snowflake's last earning call? Well, I need to first go through the audio of the call, transcribe it, and then maybe make a summary of it, right? Well, look at the AI SQL function on the right. Firstly, we're using an AI transcribe function, feed that the audio file. And once we have that, use AI aggregate to summarize the call to get the sentiment. Super straightforward, right? What would otherwise take days and involve writing complex data pipelines now will only take one simple query and just a few minutes. That's the power of AI SQL for you. Now, let's look at the question number 2. What type of creative asset performs the best in terms of CTR? Well, if you think about it, for a digital asset, we need to look at a specific image or like an ad copy and try to identify which ad campaign was it part of and identify the campaign ID, go down our databases, filter it out. It's an involved, complex, multi-step process to be able to identify or answer a question like this. Well, not anymore, thanks to AI SQL. If you look at the query on the right, you can use AI filter function directly on images. How powerful is that, right? With that one single query, we are now able to identify and calculate the CTR for any digital asset that looks like this. Very powerful. You can write your own custom prompt here as well. Now, what about the question number 3 that we saw, which was a little more involved? Well, on first look, it looks like maybe I want to filter by the companies in the renewable energy sector, the companies that have undergone a CEO change, and then do a bit of, yearly revenue growth calculation. And market outlook needs a summary from multiple different sources, right? Well, let's see how this can be done through AI SQL. Well, first we could use AI filter and then filter it by the companies that have gone CEO change, or even filter it by if they are from the renewable energy sector or not. Very cool. Just a simple prompt in English can do that for you. And now, once we have that, for the Outlook summary, we could simply use AI aggregate to summarize the insights of the specific company. And then eventually we could join these across sources to be able to answer that yearly revenue growth question. Again, this question number 3 would probably take us days to build a pipeline. And it's not about building a pipeline to answer these questions, right? But that is also maintaining and updating the pipeline, making sure everything runs fine. There is a lot of overhead also that comes with creating and maintaining pipelines for each of these. But now it's a simple single SQL query that is able to give us answers thanks to the power of AI functions and SQL. Well, what was our life like before AI SQL functions? Well, we used SQL or even Python in some cases to work on structured data, and we used RAG and other AI applications to look up unstructured data and build custom manual pipelines to answer questions like these, right? So it was not easy to work with both structured and unstructured data. And then it's not easy to manually create and maintain these AI pipelines that we build. Well, now, thanks to the power of AI SQL functions, firstly, we are able to work with multimodal data, different data sources all along. And the power of AI SQL is basically bringing in the different AI reasoning capabilities to your data to accelerate your data pipeline and also making it efficient in the process. Well, with that said, how can you get started with these AI SQL functions? You can see, again, this is only a subset of the AI SQL functions that are supported by Snowflake. Check out the Snowflake documentation for more. But again, if you want to get started today and play with it, here are some of the functions for text and multimodal support. All right, with that said, We know why AI SQL is important and how you could use AI SQL functions in your data engineering workflows. That's it. Thank you so much. I hope this was very helpful for you. And now you know how to use the power of AI and the AI SQL functions in your data workflows. Thank you.